Hi everyone, welcome to week 9. This week we are going to look at self-help and adaptive skills and how to support children in learning how to be independent in those skills. So if we look at the overview and checklist, we can see what activities we have going on this week. So the first thing is going to be your Play Pause It quiz. And it's going to be on self-help and adaptive skills. It is a shorter lecture, about 20 minutes, but it would really support you in watching the lecture. Remember, the quiz, I'm giving you 2 attempts now, so if you wanted to watch the lecture before you posted your initial discussion post, that might be helpful. And then if you don't do well the first time on your quiz, you can watch it again and redo some of those questions. So that's going to be due Sunday the 25th. Your discussion this week is really going to, again, help you to brainstorm some activities that you can do with children to support their skills. The past few weeks, you might have noticed that I'm giving you more assignments that have you brainstorming actual curriculum, actual strategies to support children's development. So this discussion is going to do the same thing, and I'll go over in detail what I expect from you. Lastly, you have a self-help adaptive skills article and video response that I'll also give you directions on. So let me go ahead and jump to our article. So you'll see a link here for the article and the video, and let me actually take you to it so that you can see exactly what I mean. So when you look here, the article actually breaks down the 10 different adaptive skills. And so what I'd like you to do in your response after you're done reading all of this, as well as watching this really great video about how to break up a larger self-help or adaptive skill into a smaller set of skills and support those smaller skills as they're working up to a larger skill. This will all make more sense once you watch the lecture and this video as well. So you're going to take each of these the 10 different skills, and you're going to list them and then provide me with an example. So I'm going to go back to our assignment so I can give you the example that I came up with. So I'm not talking about the examples that are provided already. I want you to give me an actual scenario where a child uses their skills in bathing as an example of self-help skill. An example of a child using their understanding of verbal and nonverbal language. So the example I came up with was for health and safety, which is one of the adaptive skills. Sam walked to the sink, turned on the water, put soap on her hands, scrubbed them, rinsed them, and dried her hands independently. So not a perfect anecdote observation, but it's just one example of a child using their skills to meet that health and safety adaptive skill level. Okay, so that's what I want you to do for each of the 10 different skills. I want you to give me an example of what that looks like when a child has accomplished a skill in that area. If we don't know what we're looking for, then we don't know how to support children in that area. So I want to make sure everyone knows what they're looking for in that. Okay, so that is that assignment. Your next assignment is your discussion. So for this discussion, I really do want you to watch the lecture first. Then I'd like you to name a task that you think would be important for a child to be able to do independently. And this could be anything from opening the door, turning on the light, going to the bathroom, feeding themselves. So anything you feel is important for a child to be able to do on their own. Once you choose that task, I want you to think of all of the skills involved in that task and then name them in order of what those skills are. For example, in the lecture, I talk about a child being able to pour their own glass of water. Some of the skills that a child needs to do in order to accomplish that task is they need to be able to use both of their hands in play. So they need to be able to stabilize the cup, hold the pitcher in one hand, and then pour into the cup. So that's one skill that they need. They also need to be able to know how to stop, because if a child continues to pour and pour and pour and pour, it'll overflow. So that's another skill the child needs to be able to do. The child also needs to be able to ask. So ask for a cup, ask for what they need. That's another skill. So I'm hoping this is starting to make more sense. So what are all the different skills that make up that larger task? And then I want you to tell me in even more detail, so even more specific. For example, does that child need to use a pincher grasp? Are they pooling? Are they using an isolated index finger? So what specific skills and motions is their body doing in order to be able to accomplish that task? Then what I'd like you to do is come up with an activity that you could do at home to support one of the skills you mentioned that would eventually help that child complete the task independently. So the example of pouring that I just gave you, you wouldn't just continue to put cups of juice everywhere and pitchers of juice everywhere, and that's the only way the child would practice. No, you would look for other activities where the child would engage in that same skill that would eventually help them at snack time as well. So maybe you have water play and you have cups and water play where the child is pouring in and out. Or you have cups in the sand area where the child is pouring in and out. Maybe you have glue and in the art area and the child has to squeeze the glue to fill up a little cup so that they can use Q-tips in the art area. And that helps with them knowing when to stop and when the cup is full of glue. So you're going to tell me an activity in another area that would help with that skill in order to support them in accomplishing the larger task. Okay. And then once you post your response, you're going to respond to 2 of your peers. So in order to encourage novel ideas, so your own ideas, I've made it so you won't see anyone else's post until you post your first response, until you post your ideas. And then instead of putting you in discussion groups, I made it one very large class so you can eventually see everyone's great ideas and start to get more strategies as you are looking at everybody's responses. So that, along with your play pause it this week, are your activities. And so I am excited. I cannot believe we are in week 9. But next week is going to be your midterm. So everything from week 1 to week 9 is fair game for your midterm. The last thing I'd like you to do, I'd like to bring attention to, is that I did provide an extra credit opportunity, and you do have until Sunday the 25th to submit your extra credit opportunity. So you'll find it in week 8 module, and it's SLP guest speaker extra credit. You're going to find the instructions, and you're also going to find the recorded video. It is worth 0 points, so that any additional points I give you is on top of your grade, which makes it extra credit. So it's worth up to 10 points. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful week this week, and I will be available if you have any questions. Take care.